What's up, everybody? It's been too long. It's Glenn back with your boy Big Jack, back with a best bets of the NFL season video, NFC edition. Um, if you guys were here last year, you know that me and Jack went through each conference and kind of broke down division by division what our thoughts were. We're gonna do a little less in depth this year, just kind of keep it casual, talk about some of our thoughts on each conference overall. This one, the NFC video. But man, does it feel good to be back. Jack, where's your head at here heading into the football season?
It's a beautiful feeling, man. Absolutely beautiful. We got today's Wednesday. I don't know when these will get posted, but starting tomorrow, we got 5 straight days of football. I'm not the biggest college guy, but 4 of the 5 we get some NFL. It's feels great to be back. It's a perfect time of year. Still nice enough if you want to get outside, enjoy some golf, whatever outdoor activities you're into. Soak up the weather. It seems like the back end of summer slash fall is getting more and more extended. Well, we seem to be losing out on the spring. Doesn't really exist anymore. But yeah, football season mixed with this type of weather, can't ask for anything better. And now that the Bears got a quarterback, oh baby, does it feel good.
Yeah, it feels good, man. And you're not kidding. It's my favorite time of the year in terms of weather. Um, it does feel like it doesn't last long enough sometimes, at least here in the Midwest. But I love this time of year. The leaves will start changing soon. Still get some nice summer nights where you could hang out like on a patio, enjoy a bonfire, maybe a dinner outside, maybe a cigar if that's your thing. But man, it's a great time of year. With that being said, my favorite part of this time of year is football. So let's get into the football. And if we're talking this NFC conference, really the kind of the story and the headline of it is kind of San Francisco and in the rest of the NFC. Is that who's going to step up? Is Detroit going to take that next step? Is Philadelphia going to rebound and have a comeback year after they skidded that last part of the season last year? Um, it's San Francisco is the class of the NFC, and then kind of everybody else. Who are you eyeing to maybe step up, challenge San Francisco, and maybe challenge the NFC?
It's a good question, and agree with your point. I think San Francisco is a clear front runner. Dallas always gets a lot of hype.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if they take a little bit of a step back. They've been great regular season team, haven't really shown much in the postseason. I don't know if I feel any more confidence in them now that Dan Quinn is out of the picture. He had done some pretty good things with that defense. So I don't know. The NFC East is a complete crapshoot to me. Eagles, there's a lot of interesting reports going on in house. They got new offense coordinator in Kellen Moore. They got a new defense coordinator in our boy Vic Fangio, which
yep,
I sort of love.
yep.
Uh, but I don't know. I think that division is there for the taking. The NFC North could prove to be one of the best divisions, if not the best in football. So that's going to be a gauntlet. I know a lot of people are high on the Lions still and the Packers. I'm not a believer in the Lions at all. Packers, I'm probably biased, but I don't certainly don't love them as much as the national narrative seems to be. And then you drift down to the NFC South. I kind of like the Falcons. Maybe you're gonna give me shit for just being a Kirk Cousins guy,
Yeah.
especially off the Achilles. But I like their change in coaching staff. But that being said, it's just kind of naming a lot of middling teams that you're not really going to be scared of on week one.
Yep.
Other than the 49ers, which are certainly the front runner.
Yeah. I mean, you touched on some of the teams I'll touch on here, but um, when it comes to the NFC East where you started, I actually don't have a future play to give out in any shape or form. My initial thoughts went to Philadelphia's defense being having a lot of struggles down the stretch last year, and then I realized that Vic Fangio's taking that defense over. I think he'll breathe some life back into that defense, and if he does that, coupled with some of the talent they have on that roster, I could see them having a comeback. So I steered clear of any kind of bet on them, and actually the NFC East as a whole. So that right there it'll be an interesting division to watch. It's really a two-headed race for first, and then a race for the bottom as well between Washington and New York Giants. Two lesser teams. I'd probably take the opinion that the Giants are the worst team in that division. But if you put if you made me choose, I probably lean towards the Eagles to win that division. But I have no future play on that division. And then
The
yeah,
Giants, the Giants. The only thing I'll say about the Giants, I mean, I'm not trying to say that I think they're going to be any good necessarily
sure.
as a whole, but that defensive front is pretty
Oh yeah.
nasty.
Oh yeah.
They might be able to get after some people, muddy up some games. But yeah, I don't know how they're going to do much on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, it's just that offense that makes me think that teams could go in there with a game plan just to not create that catastrophic mistake that gives the defensive side of the ball for the Giants a chance to score some points. And as long as you do that, you might be able to come with a game plan that just gets you out of there with a victory. If we go to the NFC South, where you talked about Atlanta, I'm bearish on the Atlanta Falcons. I think across the board, I think a lot of people are thinking they're probably the favorites to win the division. I don't remember where it's at in terms of the lines, what the books have them at. But my future play for the NFC South is the Atlanta Falcons under 9.5 wins. That's plus 130. I just don't like their defense. It's a first time head coach, if I'm correct about that, and we'll see what Cousins offers coming off the Achilles injury. It just screams like an incomplete team that has a few guys who are massive weapons in college that haven't quite proven it on the pro level to the level that people were expecting. Is a lot of that maybe quarterback play? Sure, but I don't know. I don't like the Atlanta Falcons the way a lot of people do. So under 9.5 wins for the Atlanta Falcons is one of my future plays for the sake of
Yeah,
this video.
that's I would say that's a fair criticism in regards to the hype around all these guys who were good in college. People coming out thought they were going to be these top tier weapons, and they just continue to fall flat. I feel like that's a lot of like coach blame, and you might be right. Who knows if any sort of change actually fixes that? But yeah, quarterback play is such a big factor. We know that most
100%.
important position in sports by far, and coming off the Achilles, he's a little bit older, but if Kirk is able to, replicate what he has done in the past, I think he's thrown for over 4,000 yards, like 5, 6, maybe even 7 times in his career. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I don't have much to say in defense of Atlanta other than, I don't know. I do like some of their weapons. I do like
For
Bijan
sure.
Robinson. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But who do you like in the NFC South? If you're so low on Atlanta, do you think Tampa Bay is going to run it back, or do you like the Saints to sort of surprise some people?
I don't like any of the four teams, to be honest.
I think that's why I lean
Right.
Atlanta.
Sure. 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 If I had to pick a team in the NFC South, it would probably be the Bucks to run it back. But that being said, I'm not in love with them either. I see that nine
Yeah,
and a half number. I feel like that's big for that team, and it's plus money. So I think I like the under.
yeah. I worry about Canellis leaving. Excuse me, down in Tampa. It
Sure.
seems that anytime that sort of thing happens, teams struggle. It's just proven time over time that it seems to always happen that way. Um, but yeah, and the coach is a first-time coach. His name escapes me, but he's a McVay guy that's going to Atlanta. So that's why,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, people love that McVay Shanahan tree. Any young guy coming out of that crop, they get a little bit of extra love that maybe isn't necessarily always warranted as well.
No doubt about it. It'll be that's got to be one of the lesser divisions in football this year. That NFC South, which makes sense why people are jumping to Atlanta, thinking that they're a strong favorite to win the division. I don't see it on the defensive side of the ball for them. So we'll see. When you come to the NFC North, you touched on the Detroit Lions and how you're not on as high on them as the national narrative is, as a lot of people are. I'm right there with you, Jack. Their offense last year put up a lot of points. Their defense is suspect at times. I also think they're prime for a regression. And Dan Campbell, for as much as I like him for like a big picture team building, like while on the rise type guy, in terms of in the game adjustments, in the game decision making, I think he's getting exposed. So I'm on Detroit under 10.5 wins. That's one of my future bets as well. So far you're on, or I'm on Detroit under 10.5 and under 9.5 for Atlanta. In terms of the other teams at NFC North, I would have been interested to see what Minnesota would offer if JJ stayed healthy. Not that Darnold should be a huge downgrade, if any, from him for this season in particular, but it's hard to get excited about Darnold long term. I think Brian Flores is going to have that side of the ball uh, playing really good football. So I can see Minnesota still not being an easy win whenever you go and face them. Um, I love the Bears. It's hard for me to speak non-biased. I'm hoping they're on the upswing. Really, all that matters this year is what's Caleb Williams offering, and hopefully the defense continues to show that they got quality across the board. Um, I worry more about the Packers than it sounds like you do. I'm really worried that despite us, the Bears, and we'll talk about this in the Bears video, despite the Bears seemingly getting better and hopefully maybe getting a quarterback, that maybe the Packers just did all the same thing, just a little bit better at the same time. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. But if you made me pick a division winner right now, I'm probably leaning the Green Bay Packers. How about you, Jack?
Yeah, piggyback a lot of the Detroit Lions banter there. It's no secret that I was proven wrong last year, but
Sure.
I've never been a believer in them. Dan Campbell, credit to him, he went to the NFC Championship very well. Probably should have went to the Super Bowl with that team. I think he's one of the worst coaches in the NFL. I don't know. They got a lot going in their favor in terms of like they have a tough first place schedule this year, which is makes things tougher, obviously. But they have like I think their first 8 or 9 games are all on turf. They're all indoor, which is
Yeah.
huge for Jared Goff. He's not an outdoor guy, especially once the weather starts to turn. But I don't know. I don't see them replicating that bit of magic they had. And I don't know. I don't believe in them at all. Packers, yeah, they're tough. Like I said, it's hard to keep the bias out with the Packers and how much I just despise the franchise in general. But it's tough to say too much bad about the way that they're going about their business. I think they have one of the youngest, if not the youngest, rosters in the NFL. Jordan Love just signed a massive contract, so they're going to have to take care of that now. But we'll see how it plays out with them. Glenn's boogieing out of here on me. He can't even stand to talk about the Packers. He's just so disappointed hearing anything about them. But yeah, Minnesota, though, I'll just ramble for a second here on Minnesota. I like Sam Darnold probably more than most people. So we'll see if he's any good. And I still think Jay Jetta is going to be a dog. I considered kind of reaching on him in a fantasy draft, but he's going to be getting like 40% of the target share just doing his thing. I don't think they're going to be nearly as bad as some people suspect.
Okay. Okay. Packers, your pick to win the division if you had to pick. Chicago Bears.
Bears.
Wow, that's juicy. Okay, and then just to touch on the NFC West. As I said in the intro, obviously it seems like the Niners are probably the class of the NFC, definitely the NFC West in most people's eyes. But I'll tell you what, man, the Rams are going to be tough. The Seahawks, I think they're going to be relatively tough under Mike McDonald. Um, Arizona, a lot of people are high on them, and Gannon, I think they stink personally. And that's going to lead me to my last pick of the NFC videos is under 6.5 for the Arizona Cardinals. That's my third pick. I know 6.5 isn't a big number, but that's a tough division, and I just don't think they're a very good team. Um, Thoughts on the NFC West, Jack?
I love how you're going just all unders on the NFC. That's
Not by
under,
design,
under,
just
under.
where my heart led me.
Yeah, fair enough. I think the Seahawks are going to be better than probably most people do. I still think they have a solid roster. I don't think that the Pete Carroll departure is like a horrible thing. He's a great coach, Hall of Fame coach, but it was, potentially getting a little stale there, and I think it's okay that they're moving on. Seems like by all accounts they got a good one in McDonald's, so we'll see how that situation plays out. Rams, I'm a little worried about this year. Seems like Stafford might have some trouble staying healthy. He typically does. They ask him to do a whole hell of a lot. Aaron Donald obviously retiring. They just traded away their defensive captain. So I'm not really sure what mode they're in. But as long as McVay's at the helm, he knows how to use whatever he's got around him. And I still think, if Stafford does stay healthy, he's still at that, maybe the back half, but I still think he's in that elite tier of quarterback. Dude's a stud when he's on the field. He just is. But yeah, I don't know. You're not going to convince me that the 49ers aren't winning that division. So
Yeah, completely agree. Last year I gambled against them. I picked the Seahawks. Not gonna make that pick again. Niners are my pick to win the West as well. Um, Probably Seahawks chance at a wild card berth. It will be interesting to see what happens with the Rams. They kind of rebuilt the last couple of years with some lesser draft picks, and it's been interesting to see how they've made all those tools work for them. But when you lose two of your key pieces on the defense like that, what kind of step back are they going to make? Um, we'll see. We'll see. Okay. My three picks for this video, just for the sake of the video: Detroit under 10.5 wins, Atlanta under 9.5 wins, and Arizona under 6.5 wins. Anybody from the NFC sticking out to you in terms of like a player of the year, MVP, coach of the year, anything like that? Anybody sticking out?
no, I mean, I say it every time we do these ones. I just am not a futures
Sure.
person for the most part. I'm not on anything in the NFC. I'm not overly interested in much.
Sure.
I mean, I think if you wanted to go like offensive rookie of the year, yeah, I'd probably, throw a little lean towards our boy Caleb Williams. And, I just, other than that, coach of the year, I mean, that's such a crapshoot and so um, subjective. I
For
don't know.
sure.
I can't. I'm not sure I could get behind that at all. But yeah, we'll see. I think the AFC, I have a few more leans as far as I think my MVP pick will come from the AFC. Um, defensive player of the year, I hit it last year. I just don't know if I am confident enough to give it out again to run it back, but maybe I'll swing back to the NFC for Depoy.
Last year, did Jalen Carter win Defensive Rookie of the Year?
No, they gave it
So
to Will
Witherspoon.
Anderson.
Oh, Will
Will
Anderson.
Anderson.
Okay. Okay. Uh,
He got it, and C.J. Stroud got it. So it was both Texans boys, 2 and 3.
okay. Okay. Um, yeah, I mean, like you said, offensive rookie of the year. If you want to ride with Kill Williams, he is plus money. It's plus 140. If he ends up being good, I could see a lot of people wanting to vote for him. The one thing I will say, Jaden Daniels, Marvin Harrison, they're the next two up. They're in the NFC as well. Um, I don't know. I think Williams is the only guy to bet there from my point of view. Um,
Yeah, I almost like that the odds are so short because I feel like it's begging you just to take a flyer on the other guys. It's the
yeah,
NFL. Injuries are like crazy. Anything could happen at any moment in time. And the fact that he's such a heavy favorite, it almost makes me like it more. Like, well, he's
sure.
probably such a heavy favorite because he's viewed as, so far superior to those other guys.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. Um, yeah, I'm not looking at MVP or anything for anybody else, but okay. That's the NFC. We'll be back with the AFC video here soon, as well as Chicago Bears preview video, and then our classic best bets of NFL weekend number one. So make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. Peace.